In my work as a college career coach, I'm often asked by students, by parents, what will my student do with a college degree? What job will they get? What will this degree translate into for this student later in life? Not only are parents asking, but also the federal government has now started to ask about career outcomes. But I would submit that we're often asking the wrong questions. We're asking the wrong questions because a degree does not equal a career. A degree is simply a ticket to the party of employment. Now, what you do once you get to that party, how you dance at that party, that's what matters. Your degree is just a way in. Your degree is valuable, but your degree does not equal a career. So on behalf of colleges and universities everywhere, career centers and career offices everywhere, I apologize. I apologize that we've lulled you into thinking that your degree equals a career. I apologize that we use words like placement that lulls you into thinking that you can have a great GPA and get a job, that you can come to my office and out of my desk drawer, I will pull the perfect job out of my desk drawer for you. I apologize because we've lulled you into false thinking. One of the things that's most important is as we think about careers, is that there are many theories about work and having a job and having a true career. But what I've learned from my own personal experiences as having a lot of zigzags in my career is that there are many ways to enter into a career and to determine what you will do with your degree. For me, I've always thought that having the perfect job was the way in, was the perfect thing that would make me happy, that would satisfy my life. And I had an opportunity to find out if that would be true. In 2013, I was offered my dream job at a major PR agency. Big title, lots more money, great travel opportunities, and so I left higher education to pursue this dream because I believed where I was in my career, that was the next thing that I was supposed to achieve. And within 90 days after taking that job, I realized I was miserable. It was not the thing I was called to do. That same year, as I was packing for a business trip, the phone rang, and it was my sister. It was my sister calling me to tell me that my mother had passed away from the ravages of Alzheimer's. She had struggled many years, but that was the phone call I dreaded. In that moment, I began to think about who I was, who I would be going forward. Could I be true to myself? I knew I had to leave the agency, but there was such fear and concern about what people would think leaving such a prestigious, wonderful job. But I moved forward and did it anyway. And returned to higher education because that's what I love. That's what I know I am called to do. So it led me to think a lot about what are the reasons and what are the ways that we enter into careers? What are some foundational elements that we might consider as we think about what will I do with my life and with my degree? And that led me to 3 C's. The first idea around careers has to do with chaos theory. Chaos theory was originally developed to predict better weather prediction models. And what's interesting about that to me is that we know how accurate weather prediction is, not very sometimes. The beauty of chaos theory, though, is that it tells us that the further away we are from an actual event, the harder it is to predict. Now, another part of chaos theory is the butterfly effect, which says that when you are sensitive and dependent on any one change in a system, that it can have a great effect somewhere along the line, somewhere later in a system. Now, you might say, chaos theory, butterfly effect, how does that all relate to careers? Again, it's based on 3 C's that I've developed from thinking about chaos theory and the butterfly effect. The first C, of course, is curiosity. When you're career disturbed or thinking about career discovery, curiosity is the BFF of career discovery. Curiosity gets you thinking about the what if, the why nots. What are things that other people are doing that you're curious about? What are things that may have burning questions that you believe haven't been answered yet? It can be small things, it can be something big, but it has to be something that you're curious about as you think about career discovery. This is Scott Densmore. Scott was curious about the world of work. He left a Wall Street firm years after starting because he was dissatisfied with his own career. He was dissatisfied, and he was curious about why 80% of the people who have careers are unhappy. But there's that 20% who know and seem to be satisfied. So he set out to research that whole idea. And he was curious. And after researching and finding answers from multiple people, he started a business, a career coaching business. He realized that after his research was published and he realized what was going on, that there were opportunities to teach others some of the secrets of that 20% who knew why they loved what they were doing. Now, Scott is also an interesting story because Scott is a person who has always been curious about many things. But part of Scott's story is that he wanted to always travel the world. So earlier this year, he and his wife, Chelsea, decided to go on a world trip. And they were traveling around the world, and he was climbing Mount Kilimanjaro and was actually killed by falling rocks. Now, that could be a tragic end to Scott's story, but Scott's business is still thriving today. And the key point of that story is that Scott didn't wait. It's never too early, it's never too late. Advance and explore your curiosities. Scott is the perfect example of that. That also leads me to my second C. The second C is connection. You know, most people have about 41 apps on their personal mobile device. At least 12 of those apps are for communication and connecting with others. Yet, we are the most disconnected people of a generation. And the interesting part of being connected is that you connect with people when you're interacting face to face, when you're doing things that flow from the heart. And one way to do that is by volunteering. I've often met best friends and met interesting people by getting out and volunteering and helping someone else. Because often when you're helping someone else, you lose sight of what you are doing and what you're concerned about. You're doing what's right, you're doing what you value, you're doing what's important to you. So volunteering is one way to connect. I would also submit that connection happens when you are doing things that matter. And these don't have to be big things. Connections happen when you meet people along the way. Somebody may give you a business card. Somebody may meet you randomly at an event. Connect, ask questions. Be interested, be interesting. Connection is an important part of career discovery. The third C is my favorite. It's courage. One of my favorite quotes is, "Make your vision so clear that fear doesn't even matter." And one way that we can do that is by doing small things in life that might just frighten us just a little bit. One of those things for me was running the Chicago Marathon in 2011. That's right, 26.2 miles of craziness. It was quite the experience, but I decided to do it because it was something that I wouldn't normally do. While fitness and intentional movement is important to me, I decided to take on this challenge to make sure that it was something that made me just a little bit nervous, and it did. Now, one doesn't just wake up one morning and, again, run a marathon. There's planning, there's training, and sometimes there's injuries, and I experienced all of those things. But the beauty and the end of this story is that I finished. I have a medal to prove it. And you know what? I liked it so much that I did it again in 2012. Now, the exciting part of that is that it was, for me, the challenge of setting a goal, achieving that goal, and making sure that I had the courage to complete it. Because courage requires bravery. And bravery requires you to step into things that sometimes you don't know what the outcome might be. Now, I knew for sure that I would not win the Chicago Marathon, but I knew that I would finish, and I wanted to finish strong. And so sometimes it's important to get outside of your comfort zone and try new things and test out the waters. As you become career disturbed, make sure you're embracing the messiness that sometimes requires courage. One of the things that I think is even more important as you think about self-discovery is to ask yourself a couple of questions. Along the way, you need to question, what is it that you're curious about? What is it that you value? What is it that is impossible to know? Because we can't know everything. And again, the further away you are from an event, the harder it is to predict the outcome. So I would submit to you that it's okay sometimes not to know, but you don't get to sit it out. You don't get to say, I don't know, so I can't move forward. You can move forward. You can embrace not knowing. You can undo the linear thinking and the linear models that we've given to you in higher education and embrace that your degree is not a career, but it is a ticket to move forward. It is a way forward. It is a way to explore the world. It is a way to explore and give of yourself. No matter what name is on that degree in terms of a major, your degree is not your career. Now, that's not hopeless. That is a new hope for you. The new hope is that when you embrace curiosity, when you embrace connecting, and when you are courageous, you can start to figure out what it is that is the next step for you. What is the next step in life that will allow you to do the things that may be changing the world forever? Thank you.